in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is a great opportunity. But my body was like, Tiff, this is not it. There are certain things that I just wouldn't welcome into my space. So why are we putting up with it? Why are we tolerating it? I was like, preach, Uba Tuba man, preach. Hey friends, I'm Tiff and you're listening to That's Real, a podcast about creating the lives we want, not just the ones we were told to live. I'll be sharing everything I'm learning to live my life on my terms and hopes to inspire you to do the same. Let's redefine what's possible together. Hey party people, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm Tiff. And honestly, the more I record this podcast and figure out the episodes I want to bring you guys, the more I see that this podcast is really about us rebuilding our lives in a way that feels right for us. Because I know for me, I'm on this path to really live out my wildest dreams. And I know that I can do it. And I don't know, I just have a feeling that if you are watching this, if you are listening to this, if you are a part of my community in any way, that you are on a similar path. And I've just been thinking a lot about, okay, like what does it take to truly rebuild our lives in a way that feels right for us? And I do think a big part of doing this is understanding what's for us and what's not for us in any given season that we find ourselves in. And I don't know about you guys, but I've been noticing in this season that I've been shedding a lot of layers. Whether it's unlearning certain things, whether it's clearing things out of my life, and sometimes not even intentionally. Sometimes it's just kind of like, oh, that's not for you. And so I have a little story for you guys that, for me, there was just a huge lesson in it when it comes to really understanding what's aligned for you and what's not aligned for you and just the bigger picture in all of it. So one thing about me is I love an acai bowl. A good acai bowl with, my favorite toppings is just so good. I fell in love with acai bowls during my trip to Bali, which is 5-6 years ago now. And here in LA, there's this acai place called Ubatuba Acai. I am obsessed with it. It's my favorite acai place in LA. And one day I just found myself craving it, craving Ubatuba acai. So I was like, you know what, Tiff, go get yourself an acai bowl. You deserve it. And you've been literally thinking about it for the past, week or so. So I make my way down to Ubatuba Acai. They actually have a few locations in LA. And, I get there, I'm telling them my order, and the server is asking me what toppings do I want. And so I start to give them the usual, can I get my flax seeds? Can I get my coconut flakes and coconut shavings? Can I get my fruits, my strawberry, banana, blueberries? And then I also usually always get chia seeds. And so I ask for the chia seeds and the server goes, chia seed pudding is actually a lot better for you. And they actually had chia seed pudding as one of the toppings too. And he was like, it's better for your body, easier to digest. And guys, I'm not a nutritionist, so I don't quote me on this. Don't take this as truth or fact, but it's just what the server was saying. So I was like, okay, cool. I'll get chia seed pudding instead of the chia seeds. And he says to me, that's right, because you don't put cheap gas in a Maserati. I was like, preach, Uba Tuba man, preach. So then I started thinking to myself, if I'm a Maserati, if I am luxury, if I am royalty, why would I surround myself with or indulge in things that aren't of that quality? If you are a Maserati, if you are luxury, if you are royalty, why would you do that? And I'm not talking about monetary value. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about the quality of the things we put into our bodies, the people we surround ourselves with, the situations we find ourselves in. If we know that they're not of the quality that's necessary for us in the space that we're in, why are we bothering with it? Why are we settling for that. It's actually funny. I've been reading this book, The Artist's Way. If you haven't heard of it, it's a book that really helps you unlock your creativity, I would say. Honestly, I feel like I need to do an entire episode on The Artist's Way because it really goes deep. But at the end of each chapter of The Artist's Way, there are different tasks that you do. And one of the tasks of the most recent weeks that I've done was to write down this quote and put it somewhere where you could see. And the quote is, "Treating myself like a precious object will make me strong." And this quote is something that I'm really trying to remind myself of. Like, if I see myself as a precious object, there are certain things that I just wouldn't welcome into my space. So then, piggybacking off of all of this, how do we know what's for us and what's not for us? Because sometimes it can be kind of hard, right? Especially when you're in the moment, especially when you're trying to figure things out. It's kind of like, okay, is this really for me or is this not for me? So I'll tell you how I've kind of started to figure things out along the way. So for me, I will say my sensitivity towards certain things has been the greatest gift and the greatest guide that I could ever ask for. So you guys might be like, okay, what do you mean by that? So let's start with the easy stuff, which is food. I don't know if you guys know this, but I have so many intolerances. I am grateful that they're not severe allergies, but they're intolerances in the sense that I'll either break out in hives, usually on my face, which isn't fun, or I'll have really, really bad like stomach cramping, stomach issues. Like, it is not cute. And I used to get so irritated with my intolerances because I'm always the person where when we go out to eat, I'm like, okay, well, I can't eat this and I can't eat that. And I have to like tell the waiter all of my different intolerances and stuff because I really just don't want to get sick or have a breakout. Like, it's always me. And unfortunately, in the past, people would kind of make fun of me for them. Like, oh, she's so LA, or oh, she's what. And it's like, well, actually, it's not like that. I actually cannot have these things. Like, I know these foods aren't aligned for me. You know, I'm the person that literally has to eat mostly organic. Like, my body can't really tolerate other stuff. And again, I used to be really down about it. I used to get really sad about it. But now I'm like, well, no. If I'm a Maserati, of course I can only put quality stuff in my body. Of course I can only tolerate the best of the best. And again, I do think that food is just a good one to kind of start testing and figuring out what's aligned for you and not aligned for you, especially because, you know, I was watching this podcast. I'm pretty sure it was Jay Shetty and Rick Rubin. And Jay Shetty was kind of like pondering the same question and basically said, you know, with food, it can be really easy to know what's for you and not for you because there are just certain foods that you know you like and there are certain foods that you don't like. It's kind of like, I just don't like how it tastes, so I'm not going to eat it. It can be that simple, but why don't we do that for other areas of our lives? Why are we only doing that with food? And that's food for thought, no pun intended. So then I also started to think about different situations that I found myself in where, although my mind didn't catch on to, okay, this isn't really aligned for you, my body was feeling all the things. So a few years ago, I had this job. And at first, everything felt fine and exciting and wonderful. But then I reached a point, let's say maybe my like halfway mark into the job, where I started getting physically ill constantly. And I didn't know why. And when I mean physically ill, I mean, I remember I walked into work and I was kind of trying to like push through feeling sick. And my boss looked at me and she was literally like, "You look pale. You need to go home." Like, that's how bad this illness was showing up in my body. And it would often feel like flu-like symptoms that would just take me out. And the first time it happened, I was kind of like, oh, it's fine. Like, I just have a little cold. But then it started to feel like every month I was coming down with it. At the same time, the environment that I found myself in, and especially when I went into the office, was not super fulfilling. I always left feeling extremely drained. And it was hard because in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is a great opportunity. Like, I like what I'm doing. I like the work that I'm doing. But my body was like, Tiff, this is not it. And eventually, I got out of the situation and whatnot. But I will never forget that. Like, I will never forget. It was like my body was telling me, Tiff, this is no longer aligned for you. I mean, same with friends, right? I mean, I feel like we've all gone through a situation where we've maybe been friends with someone that we know isn't maybe right for us or is draining us or what have you. So why are we putting up with it? Why are we tolerating it? And I really want you guys to think about this. Like, what are the signs that either you notice in your body when something doesn't feel right? Is it a feeling? Is it a nudge? We all have like this internal guidance system. Is it an inner voice? Like, what is it for you? What does that look like for you? Because I know for me, I am just so sensitive to the things that are not aligned for me. Well, I wouldn't say just the things that are not aligned for me, because I do feel like I'm able to pick up on the things that do feel right for me too, which I think is what's so powerful about being kind of like a sensitive person. And it's also funny. I mean, I used to hate the fact that I was so sensitive to everything. From a very young age, I internalized everything. And this is before I kind of like knew boundaries and knew how to kind of like protect my space and whatnot. And I feel like just everything was pouring into me to the point where it was affecting me internally all the time. And I don't know, I just feel like I'm in a space right now where the way I want to move through life, I'm going to need the energy and capacity to just do those things that I really want to do. And I know I'm not going to be able to if I am spending so much time on things that aren't truly aligned for me. It's almost like, in the season of rebuilding, we need to be super honest with ourselves about where are we settling? What do we need to shed? What is already, clearing out of our lives? Again, kind of like what I said earlier, even if we're not intentionally trying to clear them, what do we see is kind of already starting to either move away from us? That's a sign that something just might not be aligned for you right now. Because I will say, and especially I feel like more so when it comes to opportunities or people, things like that, there was a point in time where when I felt myself either becoming kind of distant with a person, place, or thing, that I would start to obsess over, okay, well, no, I need that in my life. I need that to stay. And it was almost as if I started to just really force things to go the way that I wanted them to go, just based off of what I thought was right in my mind, even though God was probably like, listen, I'm trying to remove this so that I can give you more, so that I can give you what is really aligned for you. Because we don't know what we don't know. And what sometimes feels like a loss is usually the greatest blessing. At least that's been very true in my life. So whatever you see is clearing out, just let it clear. Don't force it. Just let it flow. Because it usually is a sign that you're about to level up in some way. Because honestly, friends, like when one door closes, another one opens, and it's usually something even greater than what you imagine this other thing that you're trying to hold on to be. So friends, I'm going to leave you guys with that. I just really, really wanted to share because I do think it's so important to pay attention to this as you are growing, evolving, building whatever is next for you. Because again, in this chapter of my life, I just truly want what is for me. And I really want to be intentional about aligning myself with what feels right and removing myself from what doesn't. Because I don't know, I just want to be full of all of the things that feel good and feel right. So yeah, something to think about. just wanted to share. Thank you guys, as always, for watching and for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you are watching this on YouTube, and leave me a 5-star rating and review if you are listening to this on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. It really does help a lot. So thank you, and I will catch you in the next episode. Bye.